Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of the game. Troy Coverdale in Manhattan, Mitch Fortner's in Kansas City. The Big 12 Conference's basketball media days taking place today and tomorrow. It was the women's basketball turn today. The men will chat with the media tomorrow. We'll have plenty of interviews throughout tomorrow's show from that side of things. But today, Mitch had the opportunity to sit down with a number of players from different teams as well as coaches. Among those opportunities, a chance to sit down with K-State guard and preseason all-conference performer Serena Sundell.
You know, while I was waiting for you, I can really do some random Google searches. And so I decided to Google famous people from Maryville, Missouri. You're not on there yet, but your brother is. And so I wanted to ask about old Jalen real quick. Boy, what an interesting summer he's had, right? He got picked up as an undrafted free agent. Have you had a chance to go visit him out in Seattle or see him in a game yet or anything?
I went to a preseason game in Nashville in August, but I have not made it out to Seattle. But my parents have multiple times.
I mean, it's sweet that he makes the team as an undrafted free agent with the Seahawks. Did he get to play quite a bit in that game that you went to?
Yeah, he did. That was kind of a game where the starters played for a quarter, and then he was the center for the rest of the way, so that was fun to see him out there. And right now, I think he's the 2 deep man for a lot of the linemen because he's kind of a utility guy. So he's just waiting for hopefully nobody gets hurt, but whatever that case may be. But right now he's on kickoff return, I believe.
As a center, kickoff return.
Yes, when we run the ball back, he's like blocking for our guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Who was the team growing up that you guys liked? Were you Chiefs fans or?
Big Chiefs fans, yeah. My parents used to have season tickets. I was really little, so I don't remember going to a lot of those games, but my dad, he loves the Chiefs.
Is the goal for you? You want to play professional basketball?
That would be very cool, yeah. We'll see what happens. I think it would be very fun to play in the WNBA, but it's hard to do. And then overseas would just be such a cool experience too, so we'll see what happens there.
I mean, word is that you can actually make more money overseas in different countries.
Yeah, I think it's case by case. I don't know how true that is. That is the rumors going around, but I don't know how true that is.
Maybe I was just hearing things, but I heard Peyton Williams got a decent chunk of change while she was in Russia.
Yeah, she's still doing it out there, so she loves it. I need to actually give her a phone call. Coach Mitty has been telling me, like, a lot of people have been telling me, you should call Peyton, because anytime I'm kind of indecisive, they're like, just call Peyton. She loves it, so.
Well, maybe with also playing overseas, you may have to learn another language. Do you know any other languages?
Un poquito español, but.
A little bit of Spanish? A couple of years, maybe?
Yeah,
high school?
3 years in high school.
Well, that's a lot more than most people.
Yeah, I got a little bit, and we would go to Mexico for our vacation sometimes, and really you learn more just spending a few days in Mexico than I think I did my whole high school classes. But
you hit up the waiters with very Americanized Spanish?
Yeah, but regardless, I'd have a lot to learn.
Well, Serena, to be honest with you, you worry me sometimes because every once in a while you have that ankle injury. And you've said many times that it's just something that's just nagged you for a long time. So are you saying there's really nothing you can do about it? It's just going to happen once in a while and you're going to be a storyline and there's going to be sideline reporters trying to get the update on you and what's going on?
Yeah, my ankles are just weak. I am now fully taping and I wear ankle braces on top of both my ankles. And that seems to help a little bit. I've had a good stretch recently. I got my left one earlier in preseason, so it's also kind of a thing where if you get it once good, then the next time it's not so bad. So my trainer was like, hey, it could be worse. Like, at least now you did it bad, and then the recovery process is quicker, and that's kind of what you see from me in the games. If I go down and it's really painful and then I'm back, that's just the process of it.
Does that go back a long time, or was this K-State? You're like, oh man, my ankle's weak.
Yeah, to be honest, high school, I may have gotten my ankles a few times, but I think just college, I don't know. That nothing screams out from my past. So yeah, just really my college career.
Something about that practice floor and below the knee injuries. I don't know what it is. Now that you're a senior, do you get anything, like any special perk on the team? Like, do you get the best locker in the locker room, or you get the first shot at doing this or that, or any perks that come with being a senior?
I'm trying to think. I've had this. You keep your same locker for all 4 years, which is kind of nice. You just get your spot. I've had my spot on the bus claimed. I like my spot, but I probably could have got a new one if I wanted.
You more back of the bus, or you like being up front?
I'm pretty far in the back. Cool kids are in the back.
Sure.
No, I think really just the biggest perk is that I mentally I can see what's coming and be ready for it. I know Coach Mitty, what he wants. My body has been through it. So just on the basketball court, I think that's the biggest benefit. I'm trying to think of something fun, but no, nothing sticks out.
Are the coaches doing anything like? How creative have they been to like challenge seniors? You've been a starter for forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're a pretty good basketball player. Like, what is coach come into practice and you're getting ready for your senior season? Like, hey, you got to be better at this. Is there much of that going on right now?
Oh, there's always much of that. Yeah, yeah. He'll always have stuff for us to get better at. I think right now the biggest thing we've been working on this year is just we have so many seniors, so it's kind of there's no excuses for us not to be communicating every single possession and not to be leading and helping the underclassmen. So if we're not like doing that ourselves, then he's going to get on us, and he expects us to make the changes on our own. So we have a lot of responsibility, but it's good. I think that's how it should be. And he wants to be the coach that just kind of sits back and coaches basketball stuff. So the little things like communication, effort, working hard, the discipline, that should all be on us, because we know, what's right and what's wrong, and those are the little things that I think make you a good basketball team.
Is it easy, hard, whatever, to not let number 13 AP poll, number 1 preseason Big 12 poll to get in your head? I mean, I know me, and I'll try to play it as like, all right, stay humble, but I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like, okay, we're kind of good.
Yeah, I think you go back and forth as a player. You try to find a balance of like, yeah, that's an honor. That's a big deal to be picked number 1 in the Big 12 for the first time ever in K-State history. That's, that's kind of cool, I guess. At the same time, it gives you a lot of, I don't know. We have had big expectations for this season, so I think either way, if we were picked 1st or 5th or 10th, whatever, it's kind of like, all right, bring it on. Like whatever people expect of you, you got to try to not let it matter to you, and just still focus on the group that is in the gym every day, and the staff and your managers and your practice guys, and just try to keep the energy in your little bubble and control what you can. So it's a balance, but it is cool. I
got a couple more for you. I think a big storyline for this season is just how good the bench is, and how much they contribute with the scoring and, help out you guys with the minutes. But, of course, you're replacing Gabby Gregory, and I cannot wait to see Tamara Poindexter out there. And I've asked a couple of your teammates this question, but how good has she been so far in practice? She's a pretty good basketball player. Yeah, she is a lot of fun to play with. She's like Gabby in a sense, but she has her own little flair on things. She's so long. I think that's what people will that's what I'm still surprised with. She's longer than me. She can just stride out when she's going to the rim and stride, stop, and pivot, and then step around, step through. Her arms are so long, she's spreading out to finish in whatever way she can. And then she's also a very good shooter. And right now, I've really enjoyed playing with her. I feel like she's always in spots that I
like her to be in, and we're kind of connecting there in transition where I can find her to knock down an open three. So, yeah, she's a really good player. She's a really good defender. She's going to be a lot of fun to watch this year.
And I see Gab Goat was able to make the trip to Kansas City for Big 12 Media Days. Haven't had a chance to talk to Gab Goat yet, but as far as I understand, a couple of weeks ago, you're kind of taken over as one of the key PR people, handlers for Gab Goat. By the way, my nickname for Gab Goat is Gappy Gregory.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's Gabby inside of there. Yeah, I helped a little bit last year with Gabby's stuff, but yeah, I'll have some responsibility this year. It's kind of supposed to be anonymous, but at this point, I think everybody knows. But I really should say he runs his own account. I don't know what he's up to ever, but
the AI stuff is the best. Love that stuff. Real quick, does pineapple go on pizza?
yes, it does. Of course.
I don't
It also
understand
goes
warm
in
pineapple.
calzones. It also goes.
You're a calzone gal?
Sometimes, if I get a calzone, I'll put pineapple in there. Also, So Long Saloon, Manhattan, Kansas, there is a burger you can get pineapple on.
That's true.
Aloha burger. Very good. I love pineapple.
What's a super underrated place in Manhattan to eat at?
I'm a frequent customer at Tasty China House just because they give me so much food, and I'm always trying to eat as much as I can, and they will give me a gigantic serving.
Hope we get a gigantic serving of K-State wins this season. Serena, best of luck. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mitch Fortner with Serena Sundell as the Cats gear up for their upcoming season as the preseason favorite among the coaches' poll. The Cats tabbed for number 1 for the first time in Big 12 history. More on the game when we continue with coverage of Women's Basketball Media Day from Kansas City in a moment. Troy Coverdale back in Manhattan. I drew the short straw as I'm hanging out here, of course, while Mitch is in Kansas City, getting to luxuriate in all of the fun that is Big 12 Media Days. The women's side today, the men will be on tap tomorrow, and coverage will begin on ESPNU again tomorrow of the men's coaches having their press conferences, their segments throughout the course of the day at 10 o'clock. K-State is going to have Coleman Hawkins, Max Jones, and David Gasson on hand, along with head coach Jerome Tang, as the event gets underway again tomorrow, and we'll have interviews throughout the game for you tomorrow afternoon here on News Radio KMAN. Among those that Mitch got the opportunity to sit down and chat with, KU coach Brandon Schneider. His team picked for number 8 in the preseason poll, sandwiched between Arizona and Colorado.
Well, pretty interesting season last year. You guys make the NCAA tournament. You split with K-State. What makes this season more exciting than last year? How do you guys take the next step in this upcoming season?
I think we're so different. Graduated 4 fifth-year seniors and have 8 new players. We'll have to kind of reinvent ourselves because we don't necessarily have, the 6'6" rim protector defending the paint.
So who have been the key additions to your team this year that will certainly make that early impact?
Well, I think Elle Evans, first and foremost, 6'3" wing player from North Dakota State. Brittany Harshaw from Creighton has really had an outstanding offseason and done extremely well in these early season practices. And then we have a freshman, I think, that, at this point, it's really exceeded, I think, early expectations in Reagan Williams, from Kansas City, Missouri.
It's pretty well documented, like in the men's game, with Jerome Tang, for example, he's reinventing almost every year with pretty much replacing the whole roster. I think in women's basketball, it's not talked about enough about how crazy the recruiting can be. So with replacing 8 players, was it a pretty hectic off season to find those players?
Yeah, it's no different. I think there's 116 transfers in our league with only 220 players. So the fewest amount of transfers on a roster is 5. The most on a roster is I believe 12. So, the the portal and the nature of how we build rosters now, I don't think is any different on the men's or the women's side.
I was looking at your strength of schedule just moments ago, and you guys are ranked 22nd preseason in strength of schedule. K-State's at 26th. Who do you guys have coming up that is going to be the biggest challenges in your non-conference?
Well, early. We play Iowa early. We'll go to a tournament in the Virgin Islands where we'll play another ACC team, an SEC team there, have another Big Ten opponent in December. So, last year we had, a top 10 schedule in the non-conference, and fortunate, again this year to, build a schedule that we feel like is, lines up with our roster.
Experienced a little bit of it last year down the four corner schools being added to the Big 12. I think in football, some are noticing that some of the travel can be kind of crazy, especially if you're playing late and in those Western time zones, the Mountain time zone. Is that something you worry about? Like, do you look at the schedule and see like, wow, that could be actually a pretty brutal stretch of travel this year?
I look at the schedule and I see a lot of imbalance when I look at it. But fortunately, from our perspective, we are right in the middle of the country. Our longest flight's about 2.5 hours. So I don't think it's it's terrible from a travel standpoint, although the way the schedule is set up, we've got 2 swings in which we'll be out for potentially 5 days, which I don't think is in the best interest of the student athletes from an academic perspective.
Do you know for sure or not if you're going to like the Big 12 schedule of you're only playing 3 teams twice, everybody else you just play once, or do you think it makes a difference?
I think it makes a difference in who you play. I mean, you look at us and K-State and Iowa State, I would argue are preseason top 10 good, and we play both of them twice. So where you look at maybe another really good team like West Virginia, and their schedule in the conference is much different than ours or even a K-State's.
Got a couple more for you. So when it comes to this season, what do you feel like they can really do this year that maybe not everybody knows quite yet?
I think we're going to be able to spread the floor and shoot it. Probably should be, the best overall three-point shooting team we've had at Kansas.
I think a big reason why we have the most media here and we're having Women's Media Day now is that the sport is obviously growing in Lawrence and with KU. Do you feel like it's also growing? Are you seeing a bump in numbers with attendance and everything?
Oh, absolutely. Season ticket sales, just overall attendance. We had the second highest attendance in the history of the women's basketball program a year ago. Had the best home court record since 1997. So, we're no different than everybody else in trying to really capitalize on the momentum that we're seeing in college women's basketball, and then also obviously we've seen an increase in support at the professional level as well.
With the K-State KU game on Saturday, are you able to get to Manhattan and watch the game, or when the season's almost here? So
we're actually scrimmaging, so we've got a closed scrimmage on Saturday at Creighton. So
that's a good one.
Depending on, I may have to go back and rewatch it.
All right, Coach. Good luck this season. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Kansas head coach Brandon Schneider, whose team's going to be led by Samaya Nichols this season. She was one of the group that was named to the preseason All-Big 12 team, along with Audie Crooks of Iowa State, J.J. Quinterly of West Virginia, Aoka Lee of K-State, and, of course, the Cats' Serena Sundell as well. Haley Van Lith was one of those also named. Mitch wanted to try to find her, but didn't get an opportunity to sit down and chat with her. The others named to the preseason team were Sarah Andrews of Baylor, Aaronette Vonleh of Baylor, Caitlin Peterson of UCF, and Gianna Nepikins of Utah. That rounds out the preseason All-Big 12 team on the women's side, and all of those student-athletes were on hand for today's sessions in Kansas City. In fact, the preseason co-newcomers of the year are predicted to be Vonleh and Van Lith, while Tabitha Betson of Colorado is predicted to be the freshman of the year. We've got more from Kansas City coming up in a moment as Mitch continues with the interviews from Women's Big 12 Media Day here on The Game. The game continues on News Radio KMAN. Troy Coverdale with you in Manhattan for Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Days. The opportunity to sit down and talk with a number of the student athletes from around the conference, including the trio of K-Staters that were on hand, Aoka Lee, Serena Sundell, and Zy Walker. In fact, hard-hitting journalism being done by Mitch in his conversation with the K-State players.
Does pineapple go on pizza?
No, in my opinion, it does not at all. It does not belong there.
What is the pizza topping?
I'm simple. I like pepperoni, cheese, Casey's Taco Pizza. It's slept on. Yeah.
You're speaking my language. I was talking with Aoka Lee earlier, and we were talking about that shot against Texas last year. I think that was my favorite moment, individual moment of the season. The Iowa game was awesome.
Yeah.
How many times do you think you've gone back and watched that buzzer beater against Texas at the end of the third quarter?
I've seen it at least 100 times.
I probably 200 times.
It probably, it was just everywhere. But in that moment, it was just so, it was extreme. I can't even put it into words. The crowd erupted, and then I just knew we had the momentum.
It was funny. Deuce Vaughn, a couple of years ago, I remember him telling me that when he scored the touchdown in the Big 12 championship game, he didn't hear the crowd. The crowd was going nuts, but he's like, I just didn't hear it. I would imagine you definitely heard that crowd when you heard that buzzer beater. That was probably the loudest moment in Bramlage, I think, that season for women's basketball. Had to be.
Had to be. Oh, my gosh. I couldn't hear anything at all.
You were pretty stone cold, though, afterwards. You didn't sell it too much. I know you were feeling really good inside, but you let the teammates celebrate with you. That was such a fun moment. You have an interesting role this year where you're going from your first year to your second year. This team is full of players that are starters that have been around for a long time. I think it's the role of the bench and your role that's going to really define what K-State women's basketball is this year. So how have the coaches challenged you to be a better player this season, and what have you been working on?
Yeah, I think they've really just been doing a good job of instilling me with confidence and just telling me not to doubt myself, be decisive. And I think that's really helped me in growing my game. Obviously, I'm going to have bigger offensive roles this year and this offseason. We did a lot of individual work, working on getting to that pull-up that is really my game. And so I think that's really going to show this season.
What is it that you did last year that impressed you?
I think my defense. That was my first time playing college defense, Division I at that high level, chasing those fast guards. But I think I did a pretty good job. I definitely raised the expectations of what I had, so can't wait to build on that this year.
Who was a tough one to guard in the Big 12 last year? Who's one of the toughest ones?
Ooh, she's here right now, West Virginia, J.J. Quinterly, for sure.
I figured that'd be the answer.
She's so shifty.
Yeah. What do you think the depth of this team is going to be this year? Because, like I said earlier, that's a big key for this team to get to that next level. How do you feel how deep this team is?
This team is really deep. I think it just depends on the night, whose night it might be, and who needs to step up and make big plays for us. Because, down the line, 15 people down, everybody can come out and make a play. So it'll be interesting to see just who steps up what game and what we need from everybody.
How good has Tamira Poindexter been in practice?
She's a bucket getter. Bucket getter. 2 words I got for you. She can shoot the 3. She can take it all the way in. She's so long. She's athletic. She got hands on defense. She gets her hands on a lot of steals and deflections. So I can't wait to see what she does for us.
How tough was that loss to Colorado in the round of 32 last year?
It was really tough. Kind of glad that they're back in they're in our conference now. So we're looking for that get back this season.
You look at number 13 in the nation. How does that make you feel when you see that your preseason ranked in the top 15? And I don't know if you know this, but it's the first time in, I believe it's 20 years that K-State's been a top 15 team to start this season.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great. At the end of the day, it's just a number, but it also goes for all the work we put in. It's just a number, but we deserve it. And, we're just trying to build on that.
Is there anybody that you model your game after or that you looked up to growing up and you'd be like, I want to play like that person?
My favorite player all time, Kevin Durant. He has a mean mid-range game, and so I think that's a big part of my game is that mid-range game. So I kind of take that from him. How he gets to his spots is what I kind of want to do. And he's not really too flashy. He'll one dribble, pull up, get to his spot. So he'll just take what the game gives him, and I really want to take that from him.
If you were at that K-State football game at Colorado a couple of weeks ago, you would have seen Kevin Durant in person.
I saw he was there. I was like, oh, my gosh.
I
should have made the trip.
I walked right by him, and I didn't know who it was. And then I looked back. I was like, that's Kevin Durant.
You saw him?
Yeah. So, I was on the sideline. I was walking around, and I walked by the celebrity section trying to see if I recognized anybody.
Yeah.
KD had the hood on, so I couldn't really see him. But then I turned around and looked back so I could start seeing some faces. And I noticed Devin Booker. I noticed Kevin Durant. I know Warren Sapp is a coach on the team. Like just a bunch of basketball players that were there to play against the Nuggets or were a part of the Nuggets and there to play that next day. So I wasn't too starstruck, but now I wish you would have been there to meet your favorite player of all time. Do you have a least favorite player of all time?
Nah, I don't have a least favorite player of all time. I kind of just appreciate everybody that plays the game.
Do you have a least favorite place to travel to in the Big 12? I know you haven't been everywhere, but is there one that you don't like going to?
I've heard about West Virginia and how rough it could be in those mountains and, the snow and everything, the weather, the flights. Oh, I've heard about it.
The elevation is it's pretty similar to Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's like not high. It's not like Provo or Boulder where you're 4,000 to 5,000 feet elevation.
Right.
Was the travel at all tough? Now that you have Orlando and Provo, I don't know. I think you did go to Orlando, right? But
yeah, we did.
Were those tougher road trips, or was it just a little bit longer of a flight?
Yeah, it was just a little bit longer of a flight. We were actually kind of excited to go to UCF and get that nice weather because I think it was snowing here when we left, and then we went in there 70 degrees. So we were like, ooh, okay, we'll take it. But yeah, it was just a little longer flight. It wasn't too bad.
All right, Zai, before I let you go, personally, do you have a goal in mind that you want to achieve?
I think I just want to be healthy this whole year, keep my body right, be healthy, and just do whatever it takes to help my team win, because we just got so much talent on this team, and whatever I need to bring to the table, it might be scoring one night, it might be guarding the other team's best player the other night, and whatever it is, I'm willing to do.
All right, we'll end with this because we were talking about pizza earlier, and you mentioned you want to be healthy, but I'm also thinking eating habits. I'm terrible with my eating habits. I have no discipline. When you put the discipline aside and you want to really get after some unhealthy food, what are you going after? What's the cheat meal?
I'm going some type of fast Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is my number one fast food place for sure. You got to get the number one with the large fry. Their milkshakes, cookies and cream milkshake.
Chick-fil-A has milkshakes?
Yes, some of the best milkshakes.
I must be living under a rock.
Yeah, and then they'll have seasonal milkshakes too. So in the summer they'll have a peach milkshake, which is my favorite milkshake at Chick-fil-A. But they only have it in the summer. So yeah, that's a cheat meal. I love ice cream. Cold Stone. Cold Stone's my favorite ice cream place.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, Zai, I'll let you go. We got basketball in Bramlage next week.
Yeah.
So I hope you're excited, and I'm super excited, so I can't wait. So best of luck this season. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
K-State sophomore basketball player Zai Walker, who returned to her home state after initially going to Louisville for year one. She got an opportunity to move back as a redshirt freshman. The Wichita Heights standout went on to play in all 34 games last season, averaging 7 points, just over an assist per game as well, but also had 11 blocked shots during the course of the season while averaging 4 rebounds per contest for the Wildcats. More as Mitch continues the conversations from Kansas City and Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day in a moment as the game continues. Big 12 Basketball Media Days on tap in Kansas City, not just today, but tomorrow. The men will be speaking with the media tomorrow. Today it was the women's team's turns, and Mitch took the opportunity, as he's in Kansas City for the 2 days, to ask the pressing questions and interview really the movers and shakers of the sport. And had a little fun while he was at it.
Brayden Atkins now joins us. He is the mascot here in person at Big 12 Media Days for the West Virginia Mountaineers. I'm with K-State, and the Wildcats in football just played up in Morgantown. And that's an atmosphere. That's a stadium that I'm yet to experience, which I would love to someday. But you're also a very unique mascot because you're live and in person with the Mountaineer wardrobe. You got the musket. What is the process like of becoming the mascot for West Virginia?
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than some other mascots. You typically think like you put on the big head and you go to a sporting event and whoever does it the best becomes the next next mascot. But for us, it all starts with an application, blind application. And whoever does the best job gets an interview, because for us it's a lot of talking. And if you don't have that charisma, then you're not going to probably be a good mascot. And then after all that, then you get to the tryout process that you think of. We go to the Coliseum during a men's basketball game, try to fire up the crowd, and whoever does the best job out of all three elements there becomes the next Mountaineer.
You ever done any mascotting before?
So no, not really. As far as any other standards like putting on a big head and doing that type of thing, for me, I just kind of got to Morgantown and saw the Mountaineer at the time. Her name was Mary Roush, the 68th Mountaineer. And I was like, you know what, I could do that. Waited a couple years, tried out, and became the 70th Mountaineer.
So you're the only one. Like, how does that work? You're the only one for like 1 year. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so there's a 1 year term limit, but there's also a backup just in case. There's going to be times when I might be sick or I'm in Kansas City, but there's also events happening in Morgantown at the same time. So we have to have somebody that can kind of fill in for those other events. So that's my alternate Mountaineer right now. His name's Justin. He's great.
Now, is it necessary to have the beard?
So it is not. It kind of became a thing, though. The earliest Mountaineers never had a beard for like 50 years, never had a beard. And then one dude in the 70s was like, you know what, I think it's a beard thing now. So now, since then, every single male mascot has had a beard.
So tell me about, you brought the actual gun with you.
I did.
Tell me about this. Like, do you have to carry it everywhere you go?
Yeah, so it's kind of part of our outfits. Like the outfit I have on right now is called the Buckskins, but I think the rifle is as much of the outfit as anything else. So it comes with me everywhere, and it's part of our pregame traditions during the game. If we score, shoot the rifle. After we win, play country road, shoot the rifle. So it's just part of the Mountaineer now.
And it scares everybody the first time, right? Especially, well, you don't do it on the road, do you?
No. So this one right here is the non-firing rifle. You kind of gum up the insides, make sure it doesn't work. It's a lot easier to ship, a lot less of travel hazard. I don't know what to call it, but it's a lot easier to get it to and from when you're just telling them it's basically just a big stick.
How many appearances do you think you make? Or have you made so far, like outside of games? You doing parties or weddings and stuff?
So yeah, we do a lot of community events, WVU events, recruiting for like students, new student orientation, that kind of thing. So I started in April during the football spring game, and I'll be the Mountaineer until next April, and I've done about 250 events so far. So
wow.
It's a busy job.
Well, Brayden, you got a really cool job. You have one of the coolest jobs, I think, in college athletics, because there's not too many mascots that actually show their face and get to interact like one-on-one and talk with people.
Oh,
so it's a very unique role you have.
Yeah, it really is, and I appreciate that aspect of it, and I really love what I do.
All right, well, thanks for stopping by. Have fun in Kansas City.
Appreciate you.
That's one thing about it. You've got to go into an event like this to have a little bit of fun, and thus Mitch enjoying his time in Kansas City by, yes, even talking with West Virginia's Musket mascot, Brayden Atkins. Tomorrow, the men take their turn in Kansas City. Mitch will have a number of interviews for us again for the game, and we'll have that coverage for you starting at 4 tomorrow here on News Radio KMAN. But don't forget that ESPNU is the spot if you want to watch just the press conferences that the coaches will be having during the course of the day. Media Day starts at 10 tomorrow morning in Kansas City and will run through the afternoon. And Mitch will have all kinds of fun questions to ask of those who will be on hand. We'll relay those to you tomorrow. The interviews for you as part of the game on a Wednesday edition here at News Radio KMAN.